Here we go, Nick Dutch back on the camera again one more time. Hi there, how's it going? Just going back to one of the many comments which has been left on my celebration of 2,500 subscribers on this channel. It says here, have you ever experimented with any hallucinogenic substances such as salva, LSD, DMT, etc.? I've heard you can have some profound spiritual experiences whilst taking these aforementioned substances and potentially reach altered state of consciousness. If you haven't done any of these substances, would you ever consider trying them? Keep up the excellent work, Nick. I enjoy following your videos and appreciate the effort you put into them. Okay. It depends a lot about what you mean. Okay. You mentioned altered state of consciousness. What do you mean by an altered state of consciousness? This is my first cup of tea of the day. It is going to alter my consciousness. It's going to put me in a state of mind of someone who has had a cup of tea, rather than someone who has not yet had a cup of tea. Therefore, it will alter my state of consciousness. What are you talking about, and precisely what do you mean? Okay, if you're going to ask someone a question, you've got to know the meanings of the words you're using and to be able to demonstrate that whilst you're asking your question, so that the person you're asking can actually answer it in the most effective and efficient manner. Okay? Now, as far as spiritual experiences as a result of taking drugs, it depends upon what you mean by a spiritual experience. For some, it means something that feels mind-blowing, but you can get that through meditation and religion anyway, so why the hell would you want to take salva, LSD, DMT, etc.? And for some, it means seeing spirits. Now, essentially, if you're going to take an awful lot of drugs, you're probably going to see some weird stuff. Okay, and if you assume that these are separate conscious entities that have some kind of existence outside of your body and outside of your mind, then that could be a little damaging, because essentially you start trusting things that you can imagine rather than necessarily things which you know are there. And also you might have the potential to move away from just rationally and objectively analyzing the experiences that you get, and instead moving towards a state of mind of trusting each and every single little thing that happens inside your head as if it's something which is happening as a result of an outside spiritual force. Is there anybody out there who actually thinks that that's useful? Because if so, please check yourself into the nearest funny farm. No, I don't recommend using drugs. Which substances have I taken in my life? I confess that during my drinking days many years ago, I did in fact smoke cannabis. When I was a student, I was a typical, or more than typical, naughty young person, and did very naughty young person's things, including smoking pot, taking certain parts of the fly agaric mushroom when under the influence of pot, and what was the other thing I was on? That's right, Morning Glory, and basically seeing what the hell happened. Oh yeah, and I was drunk at the same time. So yes, I've had some pretty over-the-top, altered state of consciousness type experiences. The best, in inverted commas, spiritual experiences I've had as a result of drugs were not as a result of anything Class A, Class B, Class C. You know, it was quite simply hops. An infusion of hops. I was a lot younger when I did this, but I was playing around with spiritual healing. My father complained of a bad shoulder, so essentially I tried to spiritually heal him, but I had an infusion of hops beforehand. I placed my hands about that far away from his back. It's a nice big air gap between my hands and his back. And he says, "How comes your hands are so warm?" And I hadn't even told him that I'd started doing it yet. I had a similar experience when I was working in a pizza restaurant. I, of course, wouldn't do that at this time of life because I want to keep away from gluten, so I'm going to avoid pizza restaurants like the plague. But, you know, I was doing the cleaning work, and there was this lady there, and she also complained of a bad back. She was foreign, and had a reasonable grasp of the English language to be able to explain what she was feeling. And she regarded it as fire and lightning coming from my hands. And from then on, for the rest of the month, she didn't have a problem with her back. Now, these are all anecdotes, yeah. But as far as anecdotes are concerned, wow. Alright, there's something, occasionally you can have these anecdotal experiences which are just so wow that you realize that something is actually going on. Something. What it is, we can't say, as I carry on saying, but essentially, something is going on here. I am not going to condone the use of hops or infusions of hops or smoking of hops in any way whatsoever, because it is in fact quite a powerful substance which can affect the liver and the kidneys detrimentally. So those who already have some kind of either diagnosed or non-diagnosed problems with aspects of their digestive system should keep away from herbal medicines for the purposes of using them, psychotropically or psychedelically or whatever you want to call it. Just don't. Simply don't. The same kinds of things can be accumulated or acquired as a result of religious exercises and meditation of various different types, as well as like the taking of drugs. Okay, you can do better and in a more controlled way through meditation than you ever could with infusions of hops, LSD, marijuana, magic mushroom, or anything else you could possibly lay your hands on in some like dark and dodgy pub where there's dark and dodgy people selling dark and dodgy rubbish. Okay, so just remember that I'm not in favor of drugs at all. I'm willing to tell you my personal experiences because I think that they illustrate that there is more going on associated with all these weird phenomena than you might think. Okay, there's something happening there. Whatever it is, it's real, but it's infrequent. You got to get the right notes or get the right state of mind or get the right emotions or whatever it is to be able to have the right variety of results, or apparent results, shall we say. But there's something real happening there. So I bid you good fortune. God bless.